punchline is this.
All right, just tell me what you're really looking for.
This? Sully, check this out.
Awesome. What do you got?
It looks like we stumbled right into our secret entrance.
Wow, that's a girl. No, not going down there without some hardware.
Go talk to that rug merchant we just passed.
Now, guns, weapons.
He's not really a rug merchant.
Oh, right.
So, guys, we want to enlighten people a little bit into our process, how we work, and how we get from kind of the very beginning into to a finished product. So, the first place to really start is I think we all start with a script from Amy Hennig, and we get together and we read it and we play around. So let's talk about table reads and rehearsal.
We're really fortunate to have a couple days usually to work on a handful of scenes. We usually get what's called a rehearsal day, where we come in and sit around the table with the scripts that Amy has given us, and we get to kind of talk about the details about what's going on, look over it during the first part of the day, and then we move into the sound stage and work through the blocking and how they think they want the shot set up. And that's one of my favorite parts of the process, is the fact that we get a full rehearsal day.
Yeah, it's really rare in gaming where you have that opportunity to spend that much time with the actual words that Amy's written. Other games out there, a lot of times, and they're great games, but they will have a finished script, and you go in for a few days on 1 week. The team takes the dialogue, and then they go away and put it together. In this, the script, Amy doesn't really write a full script. A lot of people don't know that. There's not a 120-page script ready to go. Now, having finished the game, there is now, and it's a big, thick folder, but we start off with maybe 2-3 scenes, and she knows where the story's going to go, but she's described it as much more of an organic process. She has an idea of that this is how we're going to get to, the end. We're going to start here, and the luxury she affords us as actors is she has just absolutely no ego whatsoever. Her humility is just only outweighed by her talent, I guess. But she's able to give us the freedom to go in there in the rehearsal, do her words, and then she says, okay, make it better if you can. Add something, take this away. And that whole process helps it become so much more collaborative. You feel much more a part of it, and we're really fortunate. This is the only game that I've ever worked on that takes the time to do it this way and do it right.
We also sit around the table with a man named Gordon Hunt, who's a director who directed voices for things like back in the day, like Smurfs and the Flintstones and a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. And he's done a lot of other video games as they've progressed. And we sit around the table with him, and just like Nolan said, if there's a line that we're not sure if we would say it that way, we will sit around with Taylor and Nolan and Richard, and we'll run that scene, and sometimes we will say it in a different fashion and just do our best to make the scene sound smooth and make sure that the specifics and the humanness that exists between these characters really comes through.
Yes, and while he's a phenomenal director for Uncharted, his greatest gift to society is his daughter, Helen Hunt, who I had a incredible crush on.
He still does have a huge crush on her.
And I'm married.
Yeah.
She's okay with it.
Yeah.
I always tease Gordon. I always tell him, I was this close to being your son-in-law. And he said, really? I said, yeah, but your daughter didn't know who I was. But a man can dream.
One thing you guys are talking about, how Amy has no ego in terms of collaborating with us on the script. The other thing that she does is incredible in that her process of working on the script and finishing the script as we're working on the game is she's collaborating with all the game designers. I mean, half the time, the game design and the level design sort of is informed based on the kinds of scenes that we want to do in the cutscenes. And the other half of the time, it's the game designers coming up with these crazy scenarios and these crazy gameplay moments that then we want to work a story around. And so again, it's this give and take, it's this push and pull of kind of, we all end up at the same place at the same time. And Arnie and I know too well that we just ended up at that place just now. I mean, it was incredible. We just finished working on the game last Saturday. And up until the last moment, I mean, things were coming online and everyone's doing their job and it's all congealing into this final project. But I don't think you get that unless you get the collaboration on all levels between the cast and the writer and the director and the other cinematic leads like myself, and then again on the design side. So,
Well, I think it's also the reason that one of the big assets to this game, and I've talked to a few people here this week that said that the cinematics gel so easily with gameplay. It's just so seamless. That's due to the fact that everybody's involved. You know, it's one of those things that you get a chance to be part of. We will do all the IGCs, the in-game cinematics, like that busting through that door in that scene. You know, and you know, we did that. There was a crash pad. It's a lot softer. And the funny thing is, there is really no door. A lot of people, it's just kind of a railing because you can't have the markers be covered by the any type of object like an actual door. So sometimes it could just be, sometimes it's just someone standing there with a pad and you just blast into that and he just moves it and then you just do that little, and then there's fire. And then you get low.
So let's talk about that. I mean, when we're on the mocap stage rehearsing, let's talk about props and things like that. I mean, it's not what it looks like in a finished scene. It's usually a bunch of gray boxes and.
Well, it's really interesting to see how even those have progressed, and by the props progressing, I mean they've become less and less. Our first game, we had things like actual old vintage Jeeps that had seatbelts that they smelled really gross. But it was neat that we had them because it really aided in our imaginations and knowing what we were climbing into when we jumped into Jeeps like you did today, and what those felt like, and how it felt with the stick shift and the way that they moved. All of that was inlaid into our minds in the first game. And then as, you know, we went along, like Nolan said, with things blocking the markers, and what he means by that is our little mocap, you know, ping pong balls that are all over us. If we have a solid blocking reflection to the computer, then it won't read. So
5.5 years and you're going to call them ping pong balls?
Well, they might not know what a marker is. So anyway.
It looks a lot like
it's like a ping pong ball. So they, you know, things become less and less, and all of a sudden, you know, Nolan and I are jumping onto huge semi-trucks that are consist of just big blocks that are really tall and maybe a scaffolding if we're lucky, and a picture of what it looks like, and then we just play and we go to town.
Well, I have to correct you because actually I only jump onto the trucks. You usually drive them.
That's right, but I have to jump onto them before.
She does this really well.
Get in!
Or, well,
Yeah.
for any British. I don't know. Do you ever flip that for them? No.
No.
Sorry.